Welcome in. We have right here 1 hour and 20 minutes of Wrangler content. It's purely going to be about the denim, the Wrangler 13 MWZ, as you can see here on the screen, as well as the cowboy cut jackets, the Sherpa version, and the unlined version. As well as if we skip through here, we'll have, I'll be wearing a cowboy hat right there. Gosh darn. And that's the wool one. But yeah, this is Wrangler and it's denim. I really love Wrangler. I love what they've done with the 13 MWZ for like 50, 80 years now. Man, time's flying, right? But yeah, I think what they do is special. And I think having a video like this just makes a lot of sense. So just kick back, relax, maybe take a little nap to this video because it is very kind of ASMR-y, I suppose. And just put it on in the background while you're working, whatever you want to do. Oh, and another thing I wanted to mention is that there will be no ads throughout this video. You may have seen some before you came in, but you should see no more until the very end when everything's finished, so you can chill and not worry about having interruptive ads playing in your face. Enjoy. The Wrangler Sherpa jacket, model number 74255 PW, which is a pre-washed denim, 14.75 ounces. Very nice material. It's a kind of a bright electric blue color, rigid yet soft because of the Sherpa inside of it. Very bright white Sherpa. It is 65% olefin, 35% polyester, which is thermoplastics, obviously not real fur. And warmer pockets on the sides with the bar tacks. Good amount of space. Perfect hand size. Snap buttons on the chest and single snap on the cuffs. The buttons are very difficult to button up, but that breaks in over time. No internal pockets, just nice white Sherpa. Cleanly done stitching. We have chain stitches around the hem and the cuffs and other places as well. I'm sure the yoke is probably chain stitched. You won't be able to see it on the inside because of the Sherpa lining. Side cinches, so you can cinch the jacket at the bottom an extra inch on each side. Just a simple, really nice looking jacket. Looks high quality, feels high quality. Nice bar tacking, nice stitching. You know, zero complaints. I believe this jacket also is the same material as the Wrangler 13 MWZ. We'll have to see. I actually have those coming today. A pair of nice denim jeans, rigid and raw. Well, I don't think they're raw, they're rigid. Much like this, it's rigid, but it's not raw. And I suppose we should get the measurements as well. 24 inches pit to pit, 25-inch sleeve, 25.75 on the back length, 3/4, 20.5-inch shoulder, 20.5. The bottom is 21.5, just over 21.5 inches. And of course, if you're not really wearing collared shirts, this will get dirty fairly quickly. I mean, this is just from my hair, because I have long hair, so a lot of hair gets on there. It's not really dirty right now, but if your neck is exposed and you're wearing this thing a lot, you know, this is white. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at, is it will show the dirt, but you can wash these. You can just wash them cold inside out and get it nice and cleaned up. I feel like this material would look great as kind of a light wash, especially with the white Sherpa. And if I am right about this being the same material as the Wrangler 13 MWZ jeans, then it is a broken twill. So that means if you do wash these, the material is much less likely to twist and distort. So, you know, it'll remain looking the same. Oh my god, these are so stiff. Wrangler 13 MWZ, original fit, 32 by 32. And this random Hanes US grown cotton heavyweight t-shirt. They call it a beefy tee. I think it was like $8. I needed a black tee, so I decided to try it out. They're so stiff. That's amazing. This is basically raw. This is so stiff. That's interesting. I like that. I believe this is a 14.75 ounce material, much like this Wrangler Sherpa jacket. Beautiful. Both of these things are. Look at this. The original cowboy cut by Wrangler. 32 by 32 size. These will shrink. I am actually gonna wash them at some point. Maybe I won't do it immediately, maybe I will. We'll see how they fit first. And yeah, they'll probably shrink up a bit. I usually like to size up in the waist with jeans because I like having enough room in the thighs for my thighs. Rubber kind of patch, which is better than the paper patch that Levi's uses, but not as nice as leather. And look how cleanly this is done. If I can even turn it with one hand. The inside is very cleanly done. Of course, it's not selvage, but that really doesn't matter too much. I mean, I love selvage, but it's not always necessary. Pockets are up high. Chain stitching on the inside around the seat. Very beautifully done. I'm loving these already. This big pocket here. Big coin pocket. The pocket bags seem quality. Very stiff pocket bags. Feels natural, like a cotton. Made in Mexico, 100% cotton. 32 by 32. These are the Wrangler 13 MWZ. The zipper looks good. Has a little boot icon there. Here's the weave of the broken twill. Nice roomy proportions, like in the thigh, which I really need. Around the thighs. And I did decide I will in fact be washing these because I did buy them intentionally with the idea of shrinking them down. It is a raw denim. It will shrink, especially depending on how you decide to wash and dry them. And after I wash and dry these, I'll go around and get these things snipped off. Just some loose threads and cotton. And another interesting thing to note is that the seams are the opposite on these Wranglers than they are on most jeans. This seam is usually on the inside. As you can see, this is the outside. And then this seam is usually on the outside. And of course with jeans, if you want to lose as little bit of the dye as possible and not get weird kind of markings through the washer and dryer, keep them inside out. Some people try to avoid the spin cycle as well, so that it doesn't get those weird creases inside of the denim where it kind of fades in weird lines. But I'm just going to throw it into a gentle wash on warm water and then probably high heat dryer. I love this raw, starchy kind of feel, which it'll lose a bit after a wash and dry, but that's okay. And with these pocket bags, a lot of people complain that they're a bit shallow, a bit small. In my opinion, they're pretty much perfect. I've had Naked and Famous jeans, and those have pretty small pockets, I would say. These are basically perfect. They're definitely smaller than Levi's, but Levi's I consider large. Not too large, they're just large. And I don't think it's entirely necessary. This is perfect. And bear in mind, this Wrangler jean is a raw denim, but it is not unsanforized. So it is a sanforized denim. It won't shrink as much as an unsanforized raw denim like Levi's, both unsanforized and raw, whereas the Wrangler is just raw but sanforized. You'll still probably get a good inch or so shrink out of the length. Maybe, I'm not too sure about the width, but the width should shrink as well a little bit. Just two amazing pairs of jeans. And after the wash, it came out looking pretty similar to the Wrangler Sherpa jacket, which I'm sure is the same material, but the Sherpa jacket comes in a pre-wash, whereas these come raw, and of course you wash them yourself if you'd like to, which I would typically recommend since they're somewhat of a shrink to fit, I would say. The amount that they shrank is definitely noticeable, and they look way better now. The Wrangler 13 MWZ Original Fit, the official competition jeans by Wrangler. 32 by 32. These jeans are beauties. Very stiff. We'll be breaking these boys in. Clean details. Chain stitching in quite a few places. It's the pocket if you wear a belt. Now Wranglers do have these amazing pockets up here, very large. I can fit all 4 fingers in there. The downside to this pocket being here just like this, and this is the reason that a lot of people don't even realize that this pocket even exists. Belts. This thing blocks the access to that pocket, so it's pretty hard to get to, especially if you have your belt fairly tight. Like, I cannot get in there unless I like yank this up and then kind of try to get in there. Even then it's even tighter just because the whole setup. That's the only downside to these Wrangler 13 MWZ. Take a look at these Wranglers versus the Levi's 501 shrink to fit. The difference in denim color is due to the indigo. Levi's 501 shrink to fit tend to use a natural indigo. Synthetic indigo, on the other hand, is what the Wrangler 13 MWZ use, and they give this distinct blue hue compared to kind of just look, I mean, you can look at it yourself. This one is also a naturally dyed indigo jean. This is a Kaihara denim out of Japan. These Levi's are actually used. I've used them and worn them for about a year now, so they are quite faded compared to these Kaihara denim. And these Wranglers are a few weeks old, and I've been wearing the crap out of them. So in my opinion, it doesn't matter whether you're a fashion person or not, but I feel like fashion people seem to not understand utility when it comes to clothing. The reason that I wear my Wranglers a couple inches longer than my natural inseam is for various reasons. You can think of it when I'm just pulling this up. When I'm standing, you have it stacked, right? It's stacked because it's longer than my natural inseam. If it were to be my natural inseam, when I sit down, it would pull up right about here. What's being revealed here? My ankle. What can be revealed at somebody's ankle? I used to be law enforcement. Just think about it. There is a big difference between the big three: Lee jeans, Wrangler, and Levi Strauss and Company. Now, when it comes to left-handed twill, right-handed twill, and broken twill, each one of these are going to have different characteristics. I'm wearing the right-handed twill Levi's, by the way, which is why they're not right there. If you look at these left-handed twill Lee jeans, you can see how fuzzy they look. I like the material. The thing with left-handed twill is that it will be much harder to see fade. It'll have softer fades. The material itself is actually significantly softer than a right-handed twill material. Right-handed twill can kind of have like a stiff hand to it, whereas a left-handed twill like this Lee denim, it's soft, it's kind of fuzzy in a sense, almost the closest to a pair of pajamas. If you want a pair of jeans that are super comfortable, you're going to want to go with a left-handed twill. If you want a pair of jeans that don't have a leg twist or will not twist in the leg, or not so much, you're going to want something like a Wrangler 13 MWZ, where they use this broken twill, and because it's broken, you can see the pattern there. If these start to shrink, the way they'll warp is basically upward and in a straight manner. So they can shrink lengthwise, maybe they'll shrink very slightly widthwise, but the material itself, the way that it's constructed, it won't start to twist and morph like a right-handed twill will. As you can kind of see here, let me flip the cuff up. These Levi's jeans are right-handed twill, and you can see that the right-hand side of these jeans is starting to twist toward my left. So from our perspective here, counterclockwise, whereas a left-handed twill might start to twist clockwise. A broken twill will not start to twist. It is very unlikely to have leg twist compared to these two. However, left-handed twill tends to have less leg twist than right, because it is a softer weave. If you weave the opposite way, the yarns are softer, they're fuzzier, which makes them much less likely to tighten up and twist. It'll stay kind of like that. It really depends. All denim is different. You can't just take these three examples and roll with them 100% of the time, but you can have an idea of how they work. So left-handed twill will twist, but not as much as right-handed twill. Broken twill will not twist, but it's not impossible that it may. and they all have different kind of hand feels. I would say that this broken twill will have like the roughest, sturdiest hand feel. They are Wranglers. These Lee jeans with the left-handed twill will have the softest, most pliable kind of hand to them. And these Levi's 501s are kind of in between, but they are stiffer and more rigid than a left-handed twill would be. And they do shrink. People are telling me that these don't shrink. I have the measurements in the description. Let's look in the description because I put the measurements in there for a reason. After the washes, before the wash. And here we have the Wrangler 13 MWZ after 2 washes. The initial one I did with the lukewarm wash, which is in the initial video. Check out the related video below. And then I did another hot wash today. So that's 2 high heat dries and 1 lukewarm wash, 1 hot wash. These are very nicely fitting. People are saying they're too long. 32 by 32. Wranglers, in my opinion, should absolutely be worn longer than your natural inseam. These started off as a 32.5 inch inseam, and now they are at roughly 31.2. That's 4% shrinkage in length. People are saying these do not shrink. I am telling you, they do shrink. And that is not even following the instructions that Wrangler puts in the tag. They say to wash this 3 times on hot before wearing them. We've only done 1 lukewarm and 1 hot wash. It's not a vibe, it's not a style for me. In this bag, we have a Wrangler vintage made in USA denim shirt. Wrangler pearl snaps. Pre-shrunk 15 by 33, that would be basically a medium. Crafted with pride in the USA. 70127BK, care on back, 100% cotton. Let us check out some of these details on this black denim Wrangler shirt. Looking very nice. It has the 3 button snaps on the cuffs with the 1 there for the arm when you want to roll up the sleeves. Button snaps all down the placket except for the top, which will of course be a regular button to keep it nice and cinched up. Western style yoke on the front and the back. Here's how the edge is finished. Looks pretty nice, I like that. So that the material doesn't fray on the edges. Very nice looking. I like the kind of cotton tufts that are coming out. This is not a button-down shirt, so you don't button the collar down. It is a button-up shirt. People call these button-down shirts, even though technically button-down means the collar. Here is the inside. Very cleanly done. We do have some loose threads in here. This is a vintage shirt, but it's never been worn, so it's essentially brand new. The grayness of this black denim is from the washing process, not from use. I can still feel like a stiff hand to it. You can still see like these loose strings and threads. Some of them are attached still, and some of them are just loose because that's just part of it. This is the only pearl snap shirt that I own at the moment, so it kind of holds a special place in my heart. I really like it. I think it's probably now one of my favorite denim shirts. I have several. It might be my favorite, to be honest. I do love my Tailor Stitch denim shirt, but this one is built better. It doesn't it is a snap button, but on my Tailor Stitch shirt the buttonholes were starting to fray and get all crappy. With something like this, these pearl snap buttons will absolutely last pretty much forever. I guess unless maybe you get them crushed or something, which, I mean, when is that ever going to happen unless your body is getting crushed at the same time, in which case you have bigger issues. This is a lighter black denim, as you can see between my Lee jeans. This is a very dark double black denim, left hand twill, 3x1 weave, whereas the Wrangler shirt would be a 2x1 weave, which is a lighter, more flowy kind of texture. I'm not sure what the weight of this Western shirt is. It's probably like 7 or 8 ounces. And these vintage Wrangler shirts are all over eBay. I would check the description, look for your appropriate size. A 15x33 is a medium, but I would say it's maybe more of a schmedium, like leaning It is a medium, but it's really fitted because it's a Western shirt. Western shirts are usually fitted, although even these days I would imagine that Wrangler mediums probably fit way more roomy than this. So it is technically a medium from back in the day, but since everything's being made larger these days, it's probably more in between a small and a medium. With shirts, small is pretty rare for me to wear. Usually it's between a medium and a large, but honestly, it really depends. There's too many variables when it comes to clothing, too many different companies, too many different countries in the world where people are manufacturing things, and everybody has a different idea of how fit should be. In my opinion, this is definitely a medium for someone that is a more fit person. If you have a larger kind of belly, you will definitely have to size up in something like this because the taper on the side is quite aggressive. And I like that they use this contrasting color, kind of like an indigo looking thread at the bottom with those white tufts coming out. Looks really nice. Very simple thing, but I like simple things. I'm a simple man. 2x1 denim weave. So 2x1s are usually used for denim shirts like this. They're lighter weight, a little bit more flowy, more shirt-like. The collar seems to have like collar stands on the inside here. I can kind of tell there's a piece of material that goes from like right here all the way up to right around there on both sides. It keeps the collars stiff, which is nice. Kind of like a dress shirt. I could barely do up the neck with a 15, but it was possible. It actually took me a while to do it though. But all the other dimensions work well, and it will stretch out slightly where I need it to. It doesn't feel too small. I can definitely work in this. Beautiful black denim material. I really like it. It is more of like a charcoal gray, but that's mostly just due to the wash from the factory. It still has like this stiff, nice denim hand to it. Tucked in, this shirt really cannot be worn untucked. It is an extra long tail for a reason. It's meant to be tucked. I mean, I'm sure you can have it untucked. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like. If you untuck it, keep it buttoned up, and then also unbuttoned. So there is how long it is on the front and the back. Very long, 32.5-inch tail. The front is probably just slightly shorter than that, maybe like 31 inches or something. Tapered, like a lot of Western shirts are. Pearl snaps are very nice. They snap on very easily. Top button. This is a 15-inch neck, which is a little bit small for me. I can button it up as I've shown, but it takes like a little bit of effort to get that buttoned up. I would prefer a 15.5. I feel like a lot of modern shirts these days use a 15.5-inch neck for like a size kind of medium like this. This is way more of a tailored trim fit, and I actually do like that. I like that it hugs the body very well. It tapers here, and you can tuck very easily. And here we unbutton it. Maybe you're out camping with it and you're just relaxing. You don't really care what you look like. But for me, that is just too long to be worn like casually like this, like just walking around. It's not a vibe, it's not a style for me. Definitely tucked looks much better. And this jacket fits perfectly over top of the denim shirt. Of course, this video is not about this jacket, but I did make a video about it. I think it's really cool. At the end of the day, would I recommend this Wrangler vintage denim shirt? Absolutely. I love it. It's amazing. It looks good. I love the Western styling. I love the pearl snaps. There's some loose threads I should snip off soon. And I like seeing that kind of stuff because it really tells me that it was a very brand new old stock item. It even had like this green piece of plastic up here where a hang tag was cut off. So I really enjoy buying new or like new things online because you save tons of money. I think this shirt came out to like $30 after shipping and tax, which is not an insane savings, but when you think about it being a US made vintage Wrangler shirt, $30 to me for this is absolutely worth it. I would pay something like maybe up to like 65 for something like this if it was made in USA today, not a vintage one. Vintage ones I would pay less just because they're valued less. People are buying these less often, and it's not in current production or anything. It's just sitting in people's closets and stuff like that. They're not highly sought after items, so you can find them for cheaper, which of course means the value goes down. But if it were a shirt being made and produced today, I would think like $65, $70 would be fair for a shirt like this. Absolutely. It's honestly kind of crazy that these are only $30 jeans. Oh, yes, Wrangler. I'm actually fairly new to Wrangler these days. I just got into the 13 MWZs, and they have been my favorite jeans by far. Between anything else I've worn lately, better than the Levi's 501s, better than selvage denim that I've had from Naked and Famous or Ironheart even. It's honestly kind of crazy that these are only $30 jeans. This is only like a $60 Wrangler jacket. 60 bucks, something like that. Sherpa, beautiful. We got the vintage Wrangler pearl snap western shirt, Gustin belt, red wing boots, Stetson leather cap. But mostly I wanted to talk about the Wranglers just being very good quality for the price that you're paying. They don't seem to overcharge. I've looked at some of their other stuff, like even their shirts seem decently priced. This one is a vintage one, but from what I've seen on their website, their current production looks really good as well. So it's interesting because it is one of the most famous kind of denim workwear companies in the US, but it's one of the ones that I've never really had much pleasure dealing with, I guess. I'm definitely going to end up buying more 13 MWZs, and I might even try the slim fits in the, what is it called, the 936 Den. I might try those out, but I believe the thigh measurement might be just a little bit too small on those. From what I've seen in a video from someone here on YouTube named Claxit, the size 34 that he had a 12-inch thigh, which for me, like, that's basically the minimum thigh width that I want, is around 12 inches. Slightly more than 12 inches is better. These measure out slightly more than 12 inches, and even though they've had a hot wash and they've shrunk, every measurement we've measured has shrunk except for the thigh, because I wouldn't mind trying the slimmer version where there's less material here, right? Because they're all straight cuts, and the reason why some people say these look a bit too long, I think, in my opinion, is not because the inseam looks long. It's because there's extra material around here. I think that's the biggest reason. Other than that, I think that's just nitpicking because these look, to me, very good. Wrangler, very nice. Big ol' floppy flop. Look at this. Which one is better? And let's take a look at the details here. A jacket I paid $35 for in Lee and $36 for in Wrangler. First of all, the Lee is made in India. This is a Type 3 style jacket, much like the Levi's you might see, modified, and Lee has that special kind of slant on the pocket yoke there on the front, which looks very nice. On the Wrangler, we have the hidden seam kind of hand warmer pocket here. This is another Type 3 style jacket, very much similar to Levi's and Lee. And by the way, Lee and Wrangler are actually owned by the same brand, Contour Brands. You have snaps on the pockets for the Wrangler as well as the cuffs. On the Lee, it's these metal buttons, which are very nice looking. I like how those look on there. The Lee patch on the left side of the chest pocket, and there it is on the Wrangler above the pocket. Very nice details. The Wrangler utilizes kind of the patch pocket style where the pockets are patched on top and then stitched, whereas the Lee, it's internal the way it's constructed. See that, how it's cut out? It looks nice, and I actually kind of like it. I like the idea of it and everything. This is like a unique style. I do like it. Levi's does it as well. But even though it's like kind of unique and it looks kind of cool, in a way I kind of prefer how Wrangler does it, where it's just patch pockets on the top, because they're easier to access this way. You could say that it has to do with the width, right? Because this is a little bit wider than this is, but that's kind of inherent to how that design is. The Wrangler also has this kind of taper upward. It looks like it gets a little bit wider going up, so it's easier to access. Very useful pockets. I actually find pockets like on the Lee and Levi's to be less useful. If they're harder to access and use, like even if it's like a slight thing, I notice I use the pockets much less, as well as this being a button pocket. Buttons are a little bit harder to utilize, take a little bit longer rather than snap buttons. These are super simple, very quick to use. Same with on the cuffs. Then we move on to the inside. On the Wrangler, it's super well done. Like, this is so nicely finished and it goes fairly deep. The Lee is a lot sloppier on the inside. I mean, if you just look at that, look how clean the Wrangler looks on the inside. Oh yes, look what we have here. We care, Wrangler. The courage to charge ahead is needed now more than ever. So that's what we are doing, because at Wrangler, we care. We care about the planet, and we care about the people that call it home. In this bag, we do have the Wrangler denim jacket. It's a cowboy cut. It's unlined. Look at this. Look at this Wrangler shadow black cowboy cut denim jacket. Amazing. The original denim jacket, 100% cotton, heavyweight, and pre-shrunk. So this is pre-shrunk. It will not shrink, unlike these Wrangler 13 MWZ, which have indeed shrank. This is a size small. I'm typically a size medium. Check out the Vintage Futures video on this jacket. He had the original color, the Wrangler blue color. And based on his measurements, the Vintage Futures measurements, the size small is definitely for me. I can see, just based on how big the jacket looks here, that it is indeed my size. We'll get the measurements and put them in the description. Made in Mexico, which is nice to see. I like things made in USA, Mexico, and Canada, as close as home to possible. Although, of course, I have many exceptions. I like things made in many countries. This Wrangler cowboy cut jacket is now pretty much my favorite jacket. Well, it's hard to say because I do love this Levi's hemp cotton selvage jacket. Amazing jacket. Definitely will continue wearing it, of course. I like a bunch of different stuff, so I do love that jacket. This is a type 1 though. And the type 1 has the cinch on the back. It's a little bit more boxy looking, a little bit less modern appeal, I guess. Most people like the pleats on the front. They like the look of it. But I feel like a lot of people don't really like type 1s in general, for themselves at least, in terms of styling. Whereas I love type 1s. And we also have this type 3, much like the Wrangler. Lee is owned by the same brand, Contour Brands. I got this Wrangler directly from that brand out of this shipped from Texas to where I live, so very close. It came in one day, pretty much. And this Lee here is a type 3, much like the Wrangler, but it doesn't have these hidden side pocket here. The fit is much more sloppy, I would say. I did make a video on this, and I'm sure I'm popping up some stuff on the screen how I'm wearing it. I feel like the Wrangler is a little bit of a higher quality in terms of primarily like the cut of it. Like the cowboy cut is something special. I would say, just like the Cowboy Cut 13 MWZs here, these are, like, how I would describe a cowboy cut is that it's like a tailored, relaxed fit, if that makes sense. I'm sure they were kind of thinking when they were designing the cowboy cuts Wrangler that they wanted something that could be worked in, right? So it has to be relaxed in a certain way. You have to have room to move in it, especially when these things are 100% cotton, not very much stretch. It will mold to your body, but it won't have very much stretch. So there's a relaxed fit to it, but then they tailor that relaxed fit. I feel like that's probably the best way of describing a cowboy cut, just based off the top of my head anyway. And for me, it's just kind of the best shape for my body in general. This jacket is pretty much perfect. Measurements are in the description, but this size small fits me much like a lot of size medium jackets in other brands. So sizing down, if you want a tailored kind of fit, is best. If you want a more relaxed fit, you should stick with your normal size, and you'll be able to layer under it choosing your normal size. However, like I mentioned with cowboy cuts, is that Wrangler's cowboy cuts are a tailored relaxed fit, right? They actually make relaxed fit stuff, but their cowboy cuts are like tailored relaxed fits. So if you're a bit wider, like in the midsection here, and especially toward the hem, if you have like wider hips or something, you might not be able to really wear a size down because you'll need room within the midsection, right? So in that case, I would always take my normal size if you're a little bit more wide in your midsection or around your hips, because this hem measures the same width as the shoulders, but the chest measures wider than both of those. So it just gives that more tailored effect, as I keep mentioning. But yeah, here's that comparison with the Lee. This is made on the seam, the hand warmer, which I definitely prefer. It looks better that way. It's not really always hidden because it kind of bulges out slightly, but doesn't matter. Interestingly, the hand warmer pockets on the Sherpa jacket are actually a little bit larger than the ones on the cowboy cut unlined denim jacket. On here, this one goes up to that seam that you see next to that buttonhole. And on the Sherpa jacket, since there's no seam behind those buttonholes like there is here, then the pocket is able to extend further in. But you actually do feel the buttonhole on the inside of that pocket. And on the opposite side, on the other side, you don't feel the button there. Only the buttonhole is felt on the left side. Then, of course, just like the Sherpa jacket, the unlined denim jacket has snaps on the chest and the wrists. And here with this Levi's Type 1, where you can see the hand warmer pocket on the side of the jacket, the internal pocket to that looks like this. Right here, a fairly large pocket. I would consider this like a dump pocket. You can just throw anything in there. And it's on both sides, of course. So huge internal pockets, which is amazing. Those are very functional. On the Wrangler, it's very nice as well. However, since the pocket is not all the way off to the side of the seam right there, it's on this kind of V shape. It's shorter on the inside, just as deep, but this one is way thinner, and it is pretty amazing as well. It works well. You can probably put like a wine bottle in there, but it's just a little bit less convenient than the Levi's because of how deep it is compared to the width, but it still works very well. And I love how it's designed on the inside here. Just look at that. That's just so nicely done. This is it's pretty basic, very nicely done as well, but this is just like unique looking because of how it's attached. I really enjoy just looking at that. Very cool. Very nice. And then you have this as well, the care label. This is a shadow black denim, so it's double black, black on the warp and black on the weft. There is the style number, machine wash cold, inside out, only non-chlorine bleach when needed, tumble dry low or line dry, low iron. What's cool about this jacket is there's this like indigo thread or navy rather than just black. So there's a slight subtlety to that, which looks really nice. And you have, of course, the Wrangler W's on there, which you can see. It almost kind of looks like gray stitching at a distance, but it is definitely like a navy color. The shadow black is dark. This is a deep dark black. I'm not too sure how it's coming across on the camera. On the screen, it looks a little bit grayer than it does black, but it is definitely a deep black. Shadow black, as the name implies. This will start fading in a lot of areas. Even though it is a double black, black on black, black warp, black weft, these do fade, of course. Color will pretty much always fade, especially depending on the way that the denim is dyed. If it's not all the way dyed through into its core, then it will fade even easier. Looks good. I don't really use these cinches on the bottom because they are I don't know, I just never use them. I think most people don't. And you can if you wear the jacket open, but I feel like, let me button this bottom one here. So if I were to cinch one up, it would be like a really snug fit. I'm sure I probably could cinch one of them and make it like a real snug fit, but for me it's like I don't have any purpose in doing that. There's no point in me doing that. That's why I never really use the side cinches. And I actually usually never button the bottom button here. Usually keep that unbuttoned on the vast majority of my jackets because it allows the jacket to flow better. It just sits on your body much better. Doesn't bulge out the stomach. Has some subtle Wrangler branding on the chest, which I enjoy. I like Wrangler as a name, so I don't mind having branding there. Usually, with most companies, I don't want their branding on there unless it's like just a kind of more of a prestigious or heritage kind of brand. Like Levi's, I'm fine with the red tabs, things like that. And there are always exceptions to that rule that I kind of have, but I don't like branding. I don't like to be a billboard, but I do like heritage stuff and I do like rocking that. So that's why even on these jeans, I kept that patch on there just because I kind of respect the brand in a sense. You know, the more respect I have for a brand, the more I'm willing to rock their logos and stuff like that. Although once I get a shadow black 13 MWZ jean, I'm gonna cut that patch off the back just because it'll look a lot cleaner and we're gonna go blacked out for sure. I wear these jeans with the Wrangler Sherpa jacket, which is basically like a Wrangler uniform. I'm definitely gonna wear the Shadow Black 13 MWZs with this jacket as well, and just go all blacked out. I usually wear a lot of black stuff in general: black hat, black boots. I also have a black American Hat Company hat, as well as this Stetson, which is not black, but it was sitting there. So yeah, Wrangler. I don't know why I'm talking about all this other stuff. It's about this jacket, but I also, I think people that watch this content enjoy other things like Stetsons just as much as I do. Or, it doesn't have to be a Stetson, but, Red Wing boots or something. We all kind of have crossover when it comes to clothing and boots and content like this on YouTube. And yeah, this jacket is nice. The sleeve length is 25 inches, which is pretty much perfect, along with the like 19.5-inch shoulder. I have enough room in it if I stretch my arms out. Of course, the sleeves hike up slightly, but I tend to prefer that because when I wash my hands or do really anything where I'm using my hands, I like to have my sleeves naturally come out of the way like that because I'm not too much of a sleeve roller, although sometimes I do. But usually I just prefer my sleeves to get out of the way themselves. What else about this jacket? It is 14.75 ounces, so it is a heavier weight jacket. I'm not sure what the weather is right now. I'm sure it's probably in the low 80s. I'm in the shade and it's dry heat, so it's not too bad wearing this right now as I'm talking. And this jacket is you can probably wear it all year round, but if you wear it in the winter, you'll probably want your natural size so that you can layer under it if that's what you're going to do. Unless you're just like going from like building to building all winter, like a lot of people do, then you can just probably wear this on its own with like a slight, or you can probably size down in this and then just wear like a sweater or something, and you'll probably be fine if you're more of like an office mover. But if you're going to be outside, you'll probably want to take your normal size. But yeah, all that to say, I bought this jacket for only $36. Like $36 for this jacket, just under 37. It's 36 and some change. And to me, like this jacket is worth actually the retail price of $54, I think it is on the Wrangler website. Sometimes they have sales. Like the day that I bought this jacket, I bought it off eBay. The day that I bought this jacket, Wrangler had a 25% off sale. It was for Memorial Day, I believe. And even after the 25% discount, it would have came out to 49, so 49 and change. And saving 13 bucks to me is like, that's like a pretty decent meal. That's why I tend to shop on websites like eBay. And I am an affiliate with eBay. I'm part of their partner network. But check the description because you can save money on this. And it came, like I said earlier, it came straight from Contour Brands in Texas, which is one state over from me. And that's interesting because $36 straight from Texas, FedEx in one day for me at least. Well, the seller did take a few days to ship it out, but either way, like it doesn't matter. Like 36 bucks for this, such an amazing deal. I would definitely, especially now that I have it on my body, I've had it in my hands, I would definitely pay the 55 plus shipping for it on their website. Like it'll probably come out to 60 something at the end of the day, which I think is worth it. I paid 60 something for this Levi's. And this is salvage. It is hemp. It is a little bit more special in certain ways, but it's hard to say that it's like a better jacket. It's just a different style, right? But to me, like if you're looking for functionality in a jacket and just having like a rugged, durable jacket that you can use for years and years and years and then eventually get repaired, the little minor holes that start appearing, this is the one. This is the one. This is the black jacket that I think I've been looking for a long time. I never even really thought about Wrangler for a long time. Like it never really was a brand that I shopped with or shopped for until recently. And like it all started with these Wrangler 13 MWZs. Shout out to the best pair of jeans at pretty much the best price point ever. And yet again, they're knocking it out of the park with the jacket. And here we have the Wrangler 13 MWZ cowboy cut jeans in rigid denim. These are a raw denim. If you take a look, you can kind of see, I just washed these last night. They've been washed about 4 times, like 2 on hot and like 2 on cold, I believe, something like that. You can kind of see how the white is coming out from the weft, the aging in the denim, the back pocket, the right side, which I use a lot more. I typically put my phone right back here. So right around the top of this jean, around the top of this pocket, it starts to fade. The rivets, in my opinion, look very nice. I love the rivets on Wrangler 13 MWZ like that. Measurements are in the description of the main video. I measured these both when they were brand new and now that they have been shrunk. They absolutely do shrink. The color changes. They end up looking way, way, way better than they initially do. Eventually, it starts to really take on a different look, especially once it starts fading, as you can kind of see around the hem there. This is not chain stitched, but it is very nicely done. Wrangler 13 MWZ, my favorite jeans, and they are also pretty much the cheapest jeans you can find. $30. That is just a steal. The Wrangler 13 MWZ. These are the best, the most affordable jean on the market. 30 bucks for some really nice 14.75 ounce jeans. These are basically a 15 ounce, especially after they shrink. These are the rigids. They will shrink if you wash them in hot. In the tag, right in here, it says machine wash hot and inside out the first 3 times. So with a hot wash and tumble dry, you are absolutely going to get these jeans a little bit shrunken. They won't shrink like a full size necessarily. It kind of depends on how hot the water is you're using and how high heat of a dry you're doing. But you can get these shrunken about like 5-ish%. They are raw denim, sanforized but raw. Here is some of the fades on the side. Looks really good. How the seam is kind of fading down there. The seams on Wranglers are a little bit different from, say, the seams on a pair of Lee jeans. On the outside, you have that seam right there, the more low-key seam, which for the Wranglers is on the inside, so it's the opposite. Nice hardware, holding up very well. I mean, the hardware, of course, is not going to really deteriorate or anything, but it's also aging nicely, looking good. Let's get this thing turned around. And as you can see, it does have the 7 belt loops. So there's the 5 on the back there, which is my favorite amount. It's very nice. Plus the one in the middle. That's important for me because I do wear suspenders and they're like the kinds that just hook onto belt loops. And the one in the center is the most important for me. Or rather, having one in the center is important rather than having to hook the suspenders off to the sides. The high up Wrangler back pockets give you a very nice look for your butt. I mean, I noticed that other jeans with lower pockets, which is most jeans, they definitely don't look as good from the behind. Not even close. I left that Wrangler plastic patch on there just for these jeans. I will be removing that for the shadow black ones that we end up buying. But just look at these beautiful Wrangler jeans. Fading nicely, aging nicely, wearing nicely, and they're working out very well for daily life. Wrangler 13 MWZ. Check out links probably in the description. Check out the related videos. We have a lot more Wrangler 13 MWZ content on the channel. I just love them. I love Wrangler in general. I'm sure you enjoy seeing butt cracks out there, especially men's butt cracks. The Wrangler 13 MWZ. These are the best fitting jeans for a reason, and it's because of the rise. The front rise and the back rise. They just have the best look. It gives you that full seat. When you bend over, it doesn't have your butt crack showing, which I'm sure everybody enjoys, right? I'm sure you enjoy seeing butt cracks out there, especially men's butt cracks. It just has a tailored kind of look while at the same time still kind of being rugged and just kind of manly, you know, like having that kind of natural waist height on jeans is kind of nice in my opinion. Not just because of the fit, but just the way that it looks. Yeah, the Wrangler 13 MWZ. There's a reason why these things have been made for like 70 plus years at this point, these cowboy cuts. It's because they do the job and they do it looking good. Made in Mexico. $30 Wrangler 13 MWZ. One of the best jeans resides in this box right here. Just like these rigid raw blue ones, in this box we have some shadow blacks. Cowboy cut Wrangler 13 MWZ. Here we have the Wrangler 13 MWZ next to a pair of vintage Lee jeans. These are a left-hand twill. I made a short video about left-hand twill versus broken twill versus right-hand twill in Levi's. There are differences, so check out that very short video. These Wrangler 13 MWZ in shadow black are very rigid. Love that material. These are one washed, I believe. So they're washed one time, unlike the raw indigos here. These are rigid indigos. These are not washed, but they are sanforized. But when it comes to the other colors, they're all washed. So there is some, you know, you can tell kind of by looking at the waistband and stuff like that. It's not raw. So the only Wrangler 13 MWZ that's raw is this rigid one here, the blue ones. The black ones and the other colors are washed, and that's perfectly fine to me. You can tell by looking at the hardware as well, kind of like that. Very nice deep dark material. This is a bit more faded because it is older, but that is nice and dark. These are one size down from my rigids here. So these are 32 by 32, and these blue ones will shrink, especially if you wash them on hot, much like the instructions say. That's mostly because of the indigo and not getting it crocked onto furniture and stuff like that. But regardless of the reason, if you wash these on hot, they will shrink. So that's why I got these at 32 by 32. That's kind of two sizes above what I need in the waist. Like a size 30 a lot of the time in jeans fits me just fine, but my thighs won't fit in size 30s in a lot of different kind of jean cuts. So with Wrangler 13 MWZs, I size up in the waist so that my thighs can fit, which means this size 31 is like one number size above what I would probably be able to wear, but I pretty much never wear size 30 jeans just because most jeans will not fit me around the thighs if I have them at that size. So size 31 and these kind of relaxed cowboy, it's not a relaxed fit actually. I would call the Wrangler 13 MWZs more of a relaxed tailored fit, which I've talked about in other videos, because it's more of like a working man's cut. It's somewhat roomy, and then they kind of tailor it down, and that's my favorite fit. That's why I think the Wrangler 13 MWZ are the absolute best jeans, especially at the price point. They're usually on sale for $30, down from $55. Pretty much always. I've noticed over the past 3 or 4 months that they're almost always on sale for $30, 29 something. So the reason I ended up picking these up at one number size lower than these blue ones is because I knew they won't shrink. They won't shrink any at all. Although I did kind of want to get the 31 by 31 because I prefer just a slightly longer inseam. But I guess the reason I didn't end up getting the 31 by 31 and I got 31 by 30 is because when I measured those blue Wranglers, they did come out to 32.5 inch on the inseam. So they come out longer on the rigids, I believe, but these actually did measure 30. I kind of wish they were measured at 30.5 inches, like a half inch longer. but understandably, since they won't shrink, they're at the right size. I usually just prefer just a slightly longer inseam. 31 would have been good too. So I'm in between my ideal sizes, and that's one thing I like to take note of when it comes to stuff like this is not everything has to be perfectly sized. As long as it fits your body, it looks good, then don't worry too much about having like the perfect inseam. A lot of people prefer like higher inseams where it looks a little bit more hiked up. I prefer a little bit more stacking whenever possible. A little bit more than this would be ideal for me, but even this is fine, especially as the material relaxes more. This to me looks pretty good. I would say these fit slightly less roomy than the 32 by 32 rigids. So these are 31, which means certain dimensions will be slightly more tailored, like the thigh. The thigh will be slightly less roomy than that, but not by too much. But that is also a really cool thing about Wrangler 13 MWZs is that they have pretty much every size you can think of and one number size increments as well, which is very rare for companies to do. Usually only like big companies do it. And I guess Wrangler is big enough that they'll have, size 31 by 31, 31 by 32, 31 by 33, any number size you can really think of, they do have, and for very cheap. So you can get a tailored looking pair of jeans for $30 from Wrangler, which is amazing to me. And for people that don't like the patch on there, I am going to end up cutting mine off on the black ones here just to keep it a little bit more low key. And with the rivets, of course, that kind of gives a nice visual appeal, in my opinion, without having a patch there, just the rivets. Very, very cool pair of jeans. That's why I bought them twice. And here we have the Wrangler 13 MWZ with the shadow black Wrangler jacket. This is the cowboy cut Wrangler jacket. Same deep blackness. This jacket is a little bit lighter, I suppose. I did wash it myself once, actually on hot, because I wanted to see if it would shrink. And that's how I know that these shadow black jeans will not shrink, is because I washed this jacket on hot and it shrank 0% anywhere. Whereas this Wrangler in rigid indigo shrank like over 5% for sure. Check the description of this initial video, and I've made shorts as well. I keep track of the shrinkage, and yeah, they've definitely shrank. These will, any other color pretty much will not. This shadow black jacket is one of my most worn denim jackets these days. It's not too old, it's only a few months old at this point, but it is a nice jacket. It's a bit hot lately, so I am going to definitely start wearing it more once it cools down. But I do wear it as much as I can. Biggest reason for that, the kind of temper that this 14.75 ounce shadow black village has. I mean, it doesn't matter what the color is, I guess, because even with the indigo ones, 14.75 ounces, these are over 15 ounces at this point after shrinkage. This material, this broken twill denim, is just so nice in my opinion. It's a rugged, durable kind of feel, and it kind of softens and tempers over time. And you can say that about kind of any denim. Yeah, like a left-hand twill starts off being super soft, and it gets softer, like jean material, like kind of like pajama material almost. Like left-handed twill is like the pajamas of denim, and this is in between right hand twill and left hand twill in the sense that it feels nice and rugged, but over time I would say it softens more than even right hand twill. But in like, it's hard to explain. It's kind of, you have to kind of handle the different twills at around similar weights to be able to really tell. But there is something special in my opinion about Wrangler's 14.75 ounce denim. It's just so nice. It ages nicely, and it doesn't have that leg twist, right? A lot of people don't like it. I don't mind it too much, but on the leg, the seam, if you see that the seam is kind of twisting toward the front on the right, that's a right hand twill, right? If it's twisting toward the front on the left, that's a left hand twill. Now, of course, a right hand twill would be twisting more like this, right? Always toward the right, and then the left would always be toward the left for each leg. With a broken twill like this, it won't twist at all. It'll always stay straight. I think some people tend to notice that it looks like the leg twists a bit, but that's mostly because of the knee bags. Like, you can tell that my knee is definitely not aligned in the center of the jean, because that's just how our bodies are, right? The jeans are straight leg, and my knee is not so straight. So it looks in appearance like sometimes there's leg twist on Wranglers, but that is not the case. They don't twist. Very, very cool. It's interesting how like I'm excited about getting Wrangler stuff just as much as more expensive things. Like I've had Ironheart jeans, which go for like $300 or $400, and I've been just as excited to get the Wranglers. But of course, in large part, I understand like that's kind of the psychology behind consumerism. It's like, of course, I'm going to be excited to get something new. That's kind of how the brain works. And I do love the Wranglers because you get that excitement for real cheap in comparison to a lot of jeans. And if you're using them for like life, work, whatever you're using them for, fashion, like they're going to hold up. And that's what I love about durable materials. And that's why I get excited about stuff like this, is because it's durable, it looks good, it's cheap. Like that is a big factor, I suppose. Is like not everything has to be cheap. I'm not saying you should buy cheap things. Like this shirt costs more than these jeans. This shirt is a $50 shirt from Whale Wish, and I think it's worth it, right? Like I think these boots are nearly 300, double H harness made in USA, Berry boots. I think that's worth it. Like, I don't know, like it doesn't really matter. I mean, that's actually kind of on the cheaper end of boots, but I still think it's worth it. A lot of people think that might be expensive, $300, right? So the common denominator that I've noticed, it's not really about the pricing so much. It's more about the material, how it looks when you wear it, how it feels as you're wearing it in, and as it's not breaking down on you. Those kind of feelings you get from stuff like this is what I really enjoy, I would say. And you won't get perfection. I have loose strings on here I need to cut off, which I'll do once I start cutting off that back patch, that Wrangler plastic patch right there. Kind of looks like it's rubberized plastic. And yeah, just nice stuff for affordable prices. It's what I would call fair because they can sell it for that much and still make profit. This is hard not to recommend. So, use my affiliate links. I do get a little bit of a kickback without any charge to you. Yeah, Wrangler 13 MWZ. Can't get enough of them. Been loving these jeans a lot. These ones and the blue ones over there. And here we have the Wrangler 13 MWZ in Shadow Black with some Red Wing Pecos boots. These are vintage from 1989. Very nice. They're the widest boot shaft that I have, so they're nice to kind of test to see if the shaft prints through. And not really. Looks good. Pretty much the perfect leg opening on Wrangler 13 MWZ. And that's something you have to take into account as well when you size down, is that certain dimensions kind of get a little bit smaller, right? So the leg opening is probably slightly smaller than the leg opening on my 32 by 32 rigid indigo Wranglers, but probably not by much. And I will have all of the measurements in the description, as I always do with stuff like this. It's a great fit, and I don't mind it too much. I definitely wouldn't mind like just a half inch or maybe an inch longer, because these are now at 30.2 inches. Earlier in the video I mentioned it was 30 inches exactly, but they're slightly over 30 inches, the inseam. I tend to prefer like 30.5 up to 31.2. I'm just kind of making those numbers up, but anywhere from 30.5 inches to around 31.5 inches is like my ideal inseam length. This I would say is like just barely shorter than I prefer, but not in a way that I care at all. Like it really doesn't matter, because when I stand up they look good, they stack well. Not a super amount of stacking or anything like that, but it is nice enough. I definitely prefer how this looks over something like if they were maybe hiked up like an inch or an inch and a half more, so where you're kind of seeing more of the boot and it looks like you're wearing pants that are too short for you. I've never really been into that look, even though a lot of people think it's more of a tailored looking look. To me it looks more like the pants are just too small for you. Probably gonna cut some of this tree down, huh? A lot of branches in the way. But these are the Wrangler 13 MWZ in Shadow Black. Highly recommended. I do not have any complaints, and they're just going to get better and better over time. 100%. Look at this cheap crap. Cutting the patch off a Wrangler 13 MWZ is super easy. All you'll really need is this right here, a seam ripper, or really anything sharp. But a seam ripper is going to be so easy. You grab underneath the thread and you cut it out. Just cut the individual stitches. And there it is, cut off from the black pair. I don't mind too much how these look. It's just, I don't, you know, it's plastic. I'm not really into plastic crap. Looks a little bit like rubber on the front, and then the back is cheap looking plastic. It definitely doesn't look bad, but I would prefer real leather or just not having it on there to begin with. But on this pair, I am keeping it on there just because it's that's like my first Wrangler, you know, my first pair of Wranglers right here, just out of respect, I guess. There's the pocket after one wash. You can kind of see the outline, but not really, you know, like it's not too bad, especially at any sort of distance. It won't really matter at all. 100% cotton is definitely the best material for jeans if you want them to form to your body and to basically take the shape and break in as if they're yours. If there's a little bit of elastane in there, they'll still do the same thing, but to a lesser extent because the elastane retracts back in, right? Especially width-wise, that's usually where the elastane is in the weft of the jeans. So the heavier weight a denim is, the more it will basically form to your body and look like your body's shape. This is basically a 15-ounce denim right here, Wrangler 13 MWZ. These are the best fitting jeans on the market that you can buy, absolutely. Check out the related video to see how these looked when they were brand new. Here's how they look after a couple of weeks of break-in. And on this super windy day, we have these Wrangler 13 MWZ in the rigid form. These were raw back in the day. My God, these are so stiff. Last year I bought these as my first pair of Wranglers, and now they look like this. I have a new pair coming where we're going to compare this one with brand new raw rigid Wrangler 13 MWZ. Subscribe and check it out when it comes. The Wrangler Authentic Western Jacket, the M159 in Shadow Black. I've been wearing this casually because of course we just got through the winter time and I was wearing things like my shot leather jacket, but when it comes to this one here, the Shadow Black Wrangler, and I have the Wrangler 13 MWZs on right now too. This thing has been holding up really well. I mean, there's not much to say. Of course, it's going to be durable over 9 months. It's been aging nicely. It doesn't look too different. It is slightly less dark, I guess, in certain areas, especially around the neck area, but other than that, it's been holding up really well, aging nicely, and it's breaking in to the point where it's getting much softer. It is so crazy to me. In my initial video of these Wranglers a year ago, people were telling me that they're too long. Too long? How are these too long? You're tripping. But anyway, the point of this video is actually about how I love the Wrangler 13 MWZ because it allows me to wear boots like this. These are the Red Wing Pecos boots. They're a roper style boot. As you can see, quite a wide shaft here. Almost none of my jeans can really fit over this, and I'm into things like the Gustin Vintage Straight, which is their biggest cut. Those don't fit over this. The Levi's 501s don't fit over this, and the Wrangler 13 MWZ continue to impress even a year later looking this good. They used to be rigid and raw. That is what causes the fades, not washing them, not just wearing them once a week. We have the Wrangler 13 MWZ in this box from Shepler's, established 1899. Let's get this thing open. Oh yeah, look at that. The Wrangler 13 MWZ. So what I'm going to do with these as well is I'm going to cut the patch off of these brand new ones. I'm going to keep these ones on right here, and on the new ones I'm going to cut that off along with the Arcuits. Oh, look at that. Thank you for shopping with us. Boot Barn's family of brands includes Sheplers and Country Outfitter. Our first Boot Barn store opened in 1978 and has since become the largest Western and workwear retailer in the nation. We say that our customers feed America, build America, and protect America, and we're proud to support the local communities we serve. Our vision at Boot Barn is simple: to offer everyone a piece of the American spirit, one handshake at a time. I like that. And then on the back of that, there's a $25 off a $75 purchase, which is pretty nice. I mean, you know, saving 25 bucks is never a bad thing. I mean, I only got these things for like $34. And then we had also the cash back for $9. Basically like $24 all in. The Wrangler 13 MWZ. I used to live in Arkansas, so they got this kind of country accent. Depends on where you're from, though. And check it out, I'm also wearing the ones that I bought last year. I made a video for these, very popular video in fact, and these are the same thing. These are the raw versions. Look how different that is. We're gonna compare these a little bit more thoroughly here in a second. You know, I kind of like how a lot of companies are starting to use just all paper and cardboard kind of packaging. Just like Kyrgyz, they use all sustainable kind of packaging and stuff like that, because you can just throw it right inside the recycling. How easy is that? Yep, made in Mexico, just like the ones that I am currently wearing. Wrangler 13 MWZ. Just look at these babies. Gosh darn. Gosh darn. Oh, gosh darn. I'm excited because I just love this material. This broken twill, which ages very beautifully. It's now proven. I mean, it's been proven since like 1947, but I'm just, you know what I mean, by myself. Like, it's been proven by me to myself that it's very beautiful material. It ages very nicely. I love how it looks. A lot of people don't like the Wrangler blue, but I think it's great. There's a variety. I like variety, so I'm not saying it's the only thing I'd ever want, but I do like the Wrangler blue. It's very distinctive, and this broken twill is just quite amazing. Check out my YouTube short where I discuss and outline the difference between the different twills in jeans, and people have found that video very helpful. It's only like less than 3 minutes. It's one of the long YouTube shorts. Very verbose, I guess. I repeat myself a lot, but that's what happens in videos and such when you're trying to teach, because nobody learns off the first time, you know? Gosh darn. Maybe I should just do my whole channel with a country accent. And just look at the difference. We're in just normal kind of a room lighting as well, so you can kind of see how the left one has aged after just about a year, and the right one here is brand new. I'm going to cut this off, as well as the W Arcuits, which all it takes is using a seam ripper. These things are super cheap. And that's really all that came off it, not too much. Very little fluff. And you can see a little bit of the outlines, but that will start to fade and go away pretty quickly, especially the arcuate parts. This part is going to be a little bit longer, but it doesn't really matter. It's, you can't really tell even if you go a little bit of a distance here. It's kind of hard to see. And just, look at those. Look at those beauty. Oh my God. Gosh darn, girl. You're looking real tasty there. Your little booty there. The Wrangler 13 MWZ is a little bit wider when they're brand new, of course, because they do shrink. The other colors will not shrink other than these rigids. I've tried with the shadow blacks, and when it came to that, I measured precisely and there was 0% shrinkage. So don't try to shrink the other colors, but if you do want to shrink the rigid indigo raw ones, you absolutely can. And they will shrink approximately 5%. If you've noticed, my other pair, my more worn pair, they look a little bit slimmer in the thigh, and I think they actually look better because of that. After they wear in, they start to contract. They look better because they conform to your body. They shape to the shape of your legs. You can kind of see my thighs poke through here from time to time, especially if I'm like crouching or something, right? And that really helps bring out the contrasting fades from jeans, is like that pressure. A lot of people don't seem to realize that wearing your jeans with a lot of pressure, sweating through them, that is what causes the fades. Not washing them, not just wearing them once a week and then washing them again. That's not going to do it. Here are the Wrangler 13 MWZ after just about a year of wear. It's not an entire year, of course. I've worn other jeans, but these have been kind of my primary jeans for the past year, and they are looking super good. As you can see right here, I am wearing the Wrangler 13 MWZ, brand new. These are the same thing, rigid and raw. And as we come to the final video here, thank you everybody for watching this long Wrangler video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. Like the video below, and don't forget to just replay this when you want to take a little nap. And good night.